What if this whole time, all you've been missing was a different perspective? You don't need any more advice. You need clarity. I'm Megan Mason, and this is Clarity Calls. Today, I want to talk about the clarity I had when I realized I can start making my own decisions. And this might seem like a silly topic off the bat, but hear me out. So, as we get older, you start realizing, like, wait a second, I don't think I actually like doing this thing, or, maybe I don't believe in this certain thing anymore. And you start questioning all your beliefs or thoughts or things, your habits. And this is the clarity I had. So I realized that we have just been, conditioned by society and just our community. It could be church, it could be our families, but we're kind of pressured without knowing to like behave a certain way or to do things a specific way, whether, it's family traditions or it's religious beliefs, it could even be the way you decorate your house. Maybe your style is kind of outrageous, but you've been afraid to share your, authentic self because other people might think it's extreme or, oh my, make fun of you. And so you're just like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna keep this basic because I don't want to be made fun of. And the thing is, like, the people that kind of keep you in this bubble or keep you in this box, like, I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I truly think that they also have that pressure themselves from society and the people around them. And so we all just kind of put it back on the next generation and we need to stop it. So this episode is making you kind of question, what are you still believing? What habits are you still doing that maybe it's not you, and you've been kind of hiding, you've been staying small because you don't want, to get made fun of. You don't want to hear somebody run their mouth. You don't want these funny looks at you. Sometimes it's very subtle. Like, it really could just be like a look that you get, and you just completely, you're just like, I don't even want to see someone roll their eyes at me. So you stay small. You stay doing things that you don't really want to do because you're trying to please other people. So with me, I had this clarity, I don't know, it's like a few years back where it really was like, I discovered, like, I don't have to do everything that, my family does or things that like the church does or just society standards. I think I've always been one that has gone on the own, you know, to the own beat of my drum. So that hasn't, I think it actually comes probably more natural to me to make my own decisions. But there was a fear, and there still is, I think, on certain things. I'm still working on shedding it. But there is a lot of pressure to do things a certain way. I grew up in a big family, and we always like razzed each other and made fun of each other. And, in the moment, you just think it's just kids being kids, which it is. But some of that stuff sticks with you as you become an adult and you kind of stay in this role that you played, as a child. And it's like you're afraid to break out of it, when you get older. But even things like that. So I had to realize, like, my family is different. And, um, maybe we're not gonna be able to come to every single holiday dinner. We're going to do it at our house because I like to cook sometimes too. So even though there might be an expectation to show up somewhere every single holiday, you have to realize, like, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for my family. Um, so there's simple things like that, or just even like certain jobs or careers. I feel like there was a lot of pressure on what kind of degree to get because sometimes it's, if you're trying to get a degree that maybe isn't looked as some high paying job, you get that eye roll or you get that pressure of like, oh my gosh, like, are they gonna support me if I want to go this route in my job? I mean, there's so so many different things that we are pressured into feeling we, have to do. But once you realize that these are just like pretend standards, there's no actual like rule book, you're not really going to get in trouble for it. And if someone does decide to, punish you or roll their eyes, or stop talking to you, that is on them. Like that has nothing to do with you. If someone does not like the choice that you make because you're finally making decisions for yourself and what's best for you and best for your family, that is on them. That is not on you. So start, really thinking every time you make a decision, like, am I doing this to please somebody? And I think there's a difference between like, you can know that doing something is going to make somebody else happy. And that could be the reason that you do it, but you're okay with that. Like you're like, I know that this is gonna make somebody happy. I'm gonna go. Like that is okay. But there's a difference of like you kind of don't want to go, but you feel guilted into going. So be aware of these different things and when you start making these decisions. And like religion is a huge thing. And it really is hard because I think as parents, we do the best that we possibly can and we only know what we know. So if we were raised a certain way, it is very normal and common to raise our kids the same way that we were raised because that's just all we know. But if you start getting this like tug or this pull of like, I feel like this isn't right. I feel like I don't want to, raise my kids the same way that I was raised, or I want to, do some of it, but not all of it. Like that is okay. That is 100% okay. And religion is a very touchy subject. I get it. I was raised Catholic. And recently, with all just these spiritual like encounters I've been having, I became a medium like overnight. I was able to sense spirit around me. And then I realized that I could channel like higher beings, like archangels and Mary and Joseph. And it has been a crazy, crazy journey that I feel like I want to say I didn't ask for it. Like it wasn't like I just went searching for it. I feel like I just discovered it and I have been leaning into it. I haven't just been like, oh gosh, this is scary. Like, get away. I definitely have been pulling the string to follow where it's leading me, and it has been unfolding this beautiful life and different experiences. But it has made me question the way like some religions teach about, Jesus and just their teachings in general. There's just some that I don't agree with. And I'm not on here to bash any religions. I have very high respect for religions. I I love the feeling of going into a church and you could just feel the presence of the Holy Spirit. I love all of that. But there are things that I don't agree with. And I had to start questioning, like, I, how can I keep showing up when in my mind I'm making it okay because I'm telling myself, well, I just don't agree with some of the things they say. It's like, well, either you're in or you're out. Either you truly believe everything that they're teaching and you're supporting this, or you don't, and you have to find another path. And it was not an easy decision. It was extremely, extremely difficult and challenging to make this decision. But when my kids started questioning about God and, being punished and just like very negative things, the thing is, kids, they are closer to God than all of us because they were just freshly with him. And I say him, but I don't think there is a gender to God, just to be clear. I think out of habit, I say that. But my kids would ask me these questions, and they were things that I was already questioning. They were already things that I was not very supportive of. But now that they can see it with their own eyes, it was like, okay, why are we showing up if we're not fully believing all this? And my kids are very self-aware. My kids have a beautiful relationship with God and Jesus and, angels and just spirit in general. They recognize it, they see it. I don't have to say anything to them. I am so amazed what comes out of their mouths. And so they're not naive. What was challenging was trying to explain why they were hearing certain things when we would go to church and if they didn't believe it was right. And I didn't believe it was right. And then it was like hard to explain like why we're still listening to this. So it was a very hard decision because I got so much out of the Catholic Church. And again, this is not bashing the Catholic Church. This is not trying to put it down. This is recognizing that this is just not for me. It's not for me. It's not for my family. And I can still have respect for the church. I can have respect for people that still want to attend. I get what you get out of it. I got just as much out of it, but there were just things that were not for me. And I had to make that hard decision to walk away from it. And I think of it like when people say, like, what's your favorite color? Like, we all have different colors that we just resonate with. And it's funny because I think about like, I always hated the color red. And as I've gotten older, I've always like now asked myself, like, why do you hate the color red so much? And it just didn't resonate with me. But now, just of changing my mindset about everything in my life, I can have a better like respect for that color and I can appreciate it in different ways. Like I love it on Valentine's Day. I love it when I'm trying to make like a bold statement, I'll wear it. There are times and that I, appreciate the color, but I don't have to love it. I don't have to have it be my favorite color. And I know this seems like, okay, you're comparing like religion to colors, but I mean, it really can be that simple of just being able to have appreciation for something that just doesn't resonate with you. And we don't have to shame people or, turn our noses up at them if they choose something different for themselves. But there's been a lot of changes in my life and just hard decisions that I have made that I've had to look and be like, wait, like, so even like the way I was dressing my kids, dress up nicer, you have to look, so fresh and clean and, and I think there, again, there is a time and a place for that. But kids just want to be kids. They want to go explore. My kids love being outside. My kids are outside. It doesn't matter if it is raining, snowing, whatever the weather is. They absolutely love being outside. I used to try to like everybody has to match and everybody has, and now it's just like, who cares? Like, we're not gonna be on the cover of any magazine or anything like that. Who cares? Like my kids are going to get that outfit dirty and I'm just gonna get frustrated. So now, even if I do put a really nice outfit on them, I have to understand that, you know, depending on the situation, like if we're going out to eat afterwards or if they're going to go play with their cousins and they're in something nice, like there's a huge chance, I would say 100% chance that they're going to get stuff all over their outfits. And it's like, who cares then? Who cares? They wore it for whatever they needed to wear it for. And now if I don't change them, it's on me. And who cares? Who cares if they ruin it? But it was silly things like that. But I felt pressured, like, oh my gosh, should my kids be dressed up more? And it's just like, no, like they're kids, they're gonna play, who cares? Even like having like bows in their hair. I have one daughter, loves bows, wants to put them in all the time. Like, and then I have another daughter, has wants nothing to do with it. Is going to pull it out the second you put it in. And it is funny because I think about myself as a kid and I hated bows in my hair, but I also hated headbands. Man, headbands would just give me the worst headache in the world. I cannot stand a headband in my head. So it is funny because I think about like, you know, in the beginning, like trying to make my daughters put this stuff in their hair. And then when they would take it out, I would get frustrated. And now I realize like I don't even push it. I don't even care if they like every day it's a choice. Do you want to wear it? Do you not want to wear it? And I don't care either way. My kids are beautiful and perfect just the way that God made them. I don't need, any extras to feel like they're better, They are just perfect the way that they are. But a lot of this stuff comes from society pressure. It comes from family pressure. We feel like we have to hold this high expectation, and it's like, you don't. You don't at all. And I am so grateful that I finally had the clarity to realize that I can make my own decisions. I can make my own decisions for myself, and my family. And honestly, even like my decisions for my family, I do let my kids have a lot of input because I promise you, kids know more about themselves and what they need than we ever give them credit for. Kids know how to regulate themselves. Actually, I think about like my son. He would come home from school and would want to ride his bike instantly. There's days that it was like snowing or like raining, or it's just like, you got to get your homework done. You got to get your homework done. Oh, I stopped that because I realized he needed to ride a bike. It would balance him out after being at school all day. He was so dysregulated. He needed to come home and regulate himself, and he knew how. He was not putting two and two together of why he needed to ride that bike. And I feel bad. It took me some time to realize why he needed to ride a bike. But now it's like, yeah, go ride a bike or go jump on the trampoline. Go do what you have to do. You just sat in school all day. No, I am not forcing you to do homework immediately. It's not like if you're too tired, I get it. You know your body. I'm not saying they don't ever have to do their homework, but we'll get it done, later when their body has calmed down or regulates and they can get it done. So again, just ask yourself, like, what am I doing because society or, other people are putting these expectations that I didn't even realize I was doing? The movie The Notebook, there's a line from that, or like a whole scene from that movie that always plays in my head, and I love it. And I catch myself saying it, like, what do you want? He says it, I forget their names in the movie, but the guy says it to the girl, like, what do you want? What do you want? And she says, it's not that easy. And she said, people are going to get hurt. And she's referring to like people's feelings are going to get hurt. And so this woman, you know, is holding herself back from like true happiness because she's afraid she's going to hurt people's feelings because, she's always trying to please her family. And she says to him, like, it's not that easy. And, at one point he says, it is that easy. What do you want? And if we start asking ourselves that, I promise you will go more towards your happiness that you're searching for when we finally admit, what do we want? Like, what do we want? Do we want to go from house to house on holidays, or do we just want to stay inside and, in our pajamas, or, only have a couple people over? Like, what do you want? We do not have to please everybody. Again, it's just what is in your heart. And I think the biggest thing of all of these, when you're questioning, is to understand that you're not doing anything to hurt people. Like, you're not purposely trying to hurt anyone's feelings with these new decisions that you make. You're just trying to do what is going to bring you joy. And it's unfortunate if what brings you joy, upsets somebody else, but we are all responsible for our own feelings. I actually tell my husband this all the time because he does not want to disappoint me. He doesn't like if I get like upset. And you might be thinking like, "Oh my gosh, that sounds like a perfect husband." But it's not. Like it doesn't work because I end up getting upset because he thinks he knows like what is gonna not disappoint me. And it's like he does this like roundabout way of trying to like protect my feelings, and it ends up like blowing up in his face because it doesn't make sense. I'm like, just do you, man. Like, just do what you want to do. Like, stop, you know, keeping something from me, or, try to schedule things without talking to me because you think you're trying to like protect me. It's just like it doesn't work. Like, it's okay if I'm disappointed. It is okay if you choose something that's best for you and I don't agree with it. It is okay. I rather you be honest and talk from your heart and we have like a real raw conversation. And if I get disappointed, it's on me. Like that is okay. But where like the arguments happen is if he is trying to like protect me and like think he's trying to keep my feelings, anyways, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So everybody, if everyone in this world just started making decisions from their heart and stop thinking that they're going to disappoint somebody or something, like it is okay to disappoint people. That is on them and they're going to bounce back up. They're going to be okay. And I'm not saying like purposely go out of your way to just hurt everybody's feelings. It's not like that. But that's where like people pleasing comes into play. Like, are you just people pleasing? Stop it. It's all it's gonna do is frustrate you or cause bitterness. Like I always talk about human design. I do really do like human design. But we all have like a core emotion that when we're out of alignment, like it will cause that. So for me, it's frustration. I know a lot of people, it's like bitterness, and you'll get that feeling when you're out of alignment. So if you're sitting there trying to people please and it slaps you back in the face, you're going to be feeling, very frustrated or bitter. Start being aware of those situations because you're doing things that are not for you. They do not serve you, and you need to stop it. Sometimes I think society calls it a midlife crisis when people start changing how they behave. But really, I think it's people just realizing that was not me. I was put in like a box and I'm finally free and ready to explore and discover who I really am at a soul level. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Thank you for listening. If something resonated, follow along and share this with someone who needs a new perspective. The views shared are personal to each guest and are simply their own, and these conversations are not a substitute for a medical or professional advice. Thank you for tuning in.